Hello, denizens of the internet. Former network executive reaction here. Well, I thought I was done with She-Hulk. I had my good friend, Mr. Canoehead, do the final episode because it was a very difficult show to watch because I collapsed during watching it, while watching it. And Mr. Canoehead took over for me because he is Canada's aluminum-headed crime fighter and a hero to all of us in this country. So thank you again for Mr. Canoehead. But subsequent, and I thought I was done with it, but subsequent to the airing of that show, Variety published an article featuring the creative staff behind the show, including Titania Maslany, the star of the show, and trolled all us toxic Marvel fans of all of Marvel products, just not this particular show, because rightly so, it was shit. So I thought I'd read this to you because the article, it got under my skin because it just showed just what a bunch of insecure people were behind this effort. So the title, of course, was She-Hulk. Team explains the fourth wall breaking finale and delivering a fuck you to toxic Marvel trolls, which is myself and everyone else who apparently didn't like it. So not liking it made you a troll. Okay. As Maslany, creator and head writer Jessica Gao, and director and executive producer Kat Cairo, I don't know how to pronounce her name and I don't give a fuck, explained to Variety, Feige was in on the gag from the start and even helped to shape his AI avatar. If you haven't seen the show, then this is meaningless. And if you did the show, then it's still meaningless. They also talked about the satisfaction they felt in seeing real-life online trolls use the exact same criticism of She-Hulk, the show, that the fictional online trolls on the show used against She-Hulk, the character. And Maslany addressed Jennifer's romance with fellow attorney Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil Charlie Cox, while Gao and Cairo shed some light on the introduction of Scar, the surprise son of Jennifer's cousin Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. Of course, Variety magazine, which is clearly pitching this to people who know nothing about the Hulk, has to explain everything, which actually I think is very telling. So here's the question, or here's the part in bold. In addition to breaking the fourth wall, the finale tackles some of the exact same trolling comments that Marvel fans have been making. How did it feel to watch that happen as the show aired, knowing how the finale would turn out? So before I jump into Tatiana's response to this, this is unbelievable that they built the show expecting to be trolled. So why would you build a show? Why would you do this expecting to be trolled if you knew ahead of time that the show was either going to piss people off or was going to be crap or both? So anytime that I've done something creative, the last thing I'm thinking of are the people's reactions, because I just want to make the show the best that it can be for me and the people involved in the show. That is all we're thinking about. And then we're hoping once the show airs that people react positively to it. But these people, in their arrogance, expected a bad result and were proud of it. What fucking arrogance. Unbelievable. Anyway, Tatiana goes on and answers, Jessica Gao is a genius, okay, we're on bad footing already, and knows about the culture we're living in and her position in it. When she's writing these stories about a woman superhero, she knows what the response is going to be. Really, she knows what the response is going to be. Because she's baiting the audience, the fans that actually like the original She-Hulk and maybe would prefer the show to follow along the comic books that were originally written by really smart people who did very clever things. And she's such a genius that she admitted that she had no fucking clue how to write a legal procedural. And the show is called She-Hulk Attorney at Law. What a genius Gao is. That's incredible. So good for you, Titania. She is a genius. So as a cast, it was delightful sending each other these troll responses like catty schoolgirls. Oh my God, give them a week and then they're going to literally see this pop up verbatim in the show and become the villains of the show. It was thrilling. Okay, Titania, you're a child. Seriously, grow the fuck up. Were you expecting to face the trolls when you signed on for the show? Reading the script, it was so true. There's so much resistance to a woman just existing in that space of superheroes. Of course, which is why She-Hulk was made. Right, because you wouldn't have a female superhero that had many hundreds of comic books written about them really well, writing that was better than all the shit in this particular show. Hilarious comics, very clever comics, and the stuff from John Byrne that, broke the fourth wall that you guys executed extremely badly because you really didn't understand the gags that John Byrne was putting in because you're too fucking stupid. Anyways, there's always going to be that. I sort of anticipated it. Again, why would you anticipate it if all you're trying to do is make a good show, if you knowingly ahead of time know that you're not going to use any of the source material anyway? It's why I also feel it's important. There's such an entitlement to space held by certain people, and to even exist as She-Hulk is like a fuck you, and I love that. No, like I said, She-Hulk was a much loved character in the Marvel realm. So why would it be a fuck you to make She-Hulk for people who loved the character, unless you were going to subvert it and tell us to fuck off? There's an awful lot of swearing in this particular video. I'm sorry. If it offends you, fuck you. Titania, I really liked you in Orphan Black. I think you're an insecure cow. Sorry. Did Marvel give you any suggestions for the hate comments they get online? Now, this is to Jessica Gao. That conversation between Jen and Kevin, the robot, if you saw the final episode, is very much the relationship I have with the real-life Kevin, and a lot of that is taken from conversations I've had with him. That scene was so much longer in the scripts. If they had let me, I probably would have written a 10-minute conversation of my avatar arguing with Kevin. So this is Jessica Gao admitting that everybody else on the show is speaking her philosophical outlook, and clearly it's wretchedly awful. How did it feel to accurately predict what the trolls would be saying? Well, the only way you would accurately predict what we were going to say was fuck us around and basically not give us anything that was in the original comics. You must be awfully proud of yourself. And clearly she was. You could tell in the writing of this show just how proud they were with their man-baiting jokes, and oh my God, we're just pat ourselves on our back, just, oh, look what we're doing. We're just so clever. Our writer's room opened 3 years ago. Okay, so way before, obviously, the show aired. Also, they had to insert all that horrible CGI, so it took a long time for the show to come on board. But obviously they had, precogs knowing exactly how we were going to react. Pretty much maybe how I'm reacting right now. Now, if you made a decent show that actually worked and used proper rules and had laughs in it the way you anticipated, you wouldn't be getting any of these quote unquote criticisms, which you're calling troll remarks. You're confusing criticism, real honest criticism, with trolling because you're a cow. The fact that we were able to predict what the reaction was going to be, what a lot of the trolling comments were going to be, really shows how very tired and unoriginal these trolls are. No, you created an unoriginal show that was shit. That really tickled me because the little troll that lives inside me really loves trolling the trolls. Again, you are one arrogant cow. Thank you for thinking about yourself instead of the audience, and thinking about not making a show that actually worked. So good on you. In the episode, set in the superhero retreat run by Emil Blonsky, a.k.a. Abomination Tim Roth. Yes, Variety. Yes, we know because we are fans of the show, unlike readers of your fart-catching rag. So the part here, let's see now. So how did we end up with the characters that we had in the show? There were a lot of characters from the comics that we pulled and thought were so obscure and deep cuts or just silly characters that we thought would be really fun to bring into the story. A lot of them we couldn't do because either there was already a plan for them or there was a rights issue with the character. We also tried playing around with them and didn't have anything story-wise. Yes, because you're horrible writers. And you couldn't figure anything out. If you had actually written a proper legal procedural where you had a superhero of the week, like, in Barney Miller, a perp of the week kind of thing, then each week we would have a very entertaining story instead of the garbage that you gave us. See? Very easy to write well if you knew how to write well. What was Kevin's reaction to the finale? Kate Cairo. Kevin had a huge hand in that finale, and in the character of Kevin, Kevin. Ironically, I was more squeamish about it than they were. I was like, are we going too far? Are we throwing Marvel and fans under the bus by putting down Marvel films? Well, that's not an issue. The last bunch of Marvel films were so wretchedly awful. Go ahead, throw them under the bus. Just crap. The writing staff thinks that they are geniuses. No writing staff, at least a comedy writing staff that I've been involved in, we're unbelievably insecure. None of us think that we're geniuses, and we just hope that the jokes land. Clearly, they are more impressed with their genius than their ability to write. Did you have to dig deep for all the Marvel criticism or just scroll through Twitter? We called it, which is pretty gratifying. It's so satisfying. Even negative commentary I always interpret as engagement. If people are that angry, then they are paying attention. I look at all of this positively. Again, I have only 2 words, arrogant cows. I only wish that Patty Guggenheim as Madison had come back in the finale, because she was actually the funniest thing in the entire series. They could have made an entire show just about her. That's my great regret. No, there are other regrets that you should have for this show, like participating in it. From my perspective, this is a clear indicator of the arrogance and insecurity of the writers, that they focused on what the reaction was going to be from the fan base because they knew what they were writing was garbage and not what even resembled anything that what the original comic books were. And I'm not saying that we wanted slavish adherence to the comics, but the fact is they could have made this a successful show if they hadn't made She-Hulk pathetic and insecure and actually showed us that she was a competent lawyer, which these writers, in their incompetence, couldn't even do. So all this talk about women empowerment, they turned Jennifer and She-Hulk into a terrible lawyer. So why are they celebrating that? And I'm not even going to talk about the cheap shot at men, because again, it was unbelievably juvenile and simplistic without any kind of sophistication. I'm not against what they did and how they portrayed, their toxic male audience, but even that could have been done much better and much funnier, but a man would have had to write it. Yes, I understand the irony of it all. If the women, the creative team of She-Hulk, and I use the word creative loosely, watch this video, they're just going to point to it and go, see, this is exactly the kind of trolls that we made fun of. Well, I'd like to finish off with a quote that has been attributed to Sir Winston Churchill when a woman accosted him and said, "You, sir, are a drunk." And he turned to the woman and said, "Yes, I might be a drunk, but tomorrow morning, ma'am, I shall be sober and you shall still be ugly." Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.